right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters. Your presence matters. We'll see you there.
White diamonds, 2 a.m. she wildin'. She sick, got they stomach in her comments. What school you went to? Gardner, Compton, Westchester, King, Drew, did we function? Lil, but that dog gave me, that's on pup. All my kids, I sock you up. Have you ever took a fade and ran 3 more back to back? Oh, you haven't? Then shut the f up and keep it rap. I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA when you don't travel past the 10. Am I tripping? Yes, I am. Meditate over some money. I see Franklin, I find Zen. I'm from the land. Don't say you hate LA, but live in LA and pretend. My neck on Tarantino, Alejandro Spike Lee. Just know you took the scenic route if you stand by me, stupid.
So fly in this 50 on me, don't stop trying.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Welcome forward. You've landed at First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. And no, I am not Dominique DiPrima. My name is Dr. Sunshine, and I am sitting in for Dominique today and for the rest of the week. I have the honor and privilege of doing that. It is just after 7 a.m. here in Los Angeles, and if you're joining us over, I don't know, your morning coffee, or if you're on your commute, thank you for tuning in. So this particular hour, we are stepping into the world of film, storytelling, creativity, but more specifically, independent filmmaking. So Hollywood often gets the spotlight, but some of the most powerful, some of the most raw, some of the most meaningful stories are being told outside of the big studio system by artists who would rather carve their own way. And personally, I feel like who tell the best boots on the ground stories. So my guest this morning knows that journey all too well. I am going to be joined again by a familiar face and voice. Avi Bernard is an first of all, you guys, everybody knows Avi, but let me tell you a little bit about him that you may or may not know. So he is an actor who appeared on HBO's True Detective, TNT's Murder in the First, HBO's Barry, and many more. So you know he's also a producer. He's a former voice here at KBLA Talk 1580, and today he's here with us, and he's going to talk to us, be in our midst, and talk to us about independent filmmaking. So, Avi, welcome to the show. It's great to have you with me this morning.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Sunshine. It's great to be with you.
Absolutely. So you've had big roles on big networks like HBO and TNT. First off, how are you this morning?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question given everything that's going on in the world. It's kind of a one day at a time approach for me, which is kind of my default, but especially right now, given all the news that's happening in the world and the leadership of our country currently. But I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain.
I love. Same. It's a loaded question, right? How am I this morning? I'll find out right after right after listening to news and information. Then I can better answer and assess that question, because it seems to be changing daily.
Exactly.
But it makes what you're doing all the more important. Independent filmmaking is all about telling our stories and the truth behind our lived experiences. So I'm definitely grateful for the work that you're doing in filmmaking. Um, so I was very impressed with a little teeny bit of your resume that I read in the intro. HBO, TNT, Murder in the First. I loved that show so much. Um, but being in the midst of the industry and playing roles and being an observer inside and outside of it. What do you think? What do you think you've learned about it, and how has that impressed upon you to move into independent filmmaking?
Well, I mean, independent film is important because it gives us a chance to tell stories that the studios won't greenlight. And I think first it's important to define independent film. And it's a film that is produced and distributed outside of the major film studio system. And so there are 5 major studios, right? There's Disney, Universal, Sony Pictures, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. And, you know, we're very familiar with those names. Those are huge billion-dollar companies. They can greenlight any movie, anytime. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars on their movies. And then there are independent films, which there are also studios who make independent films, smaller studios that are not part of the big 5. You know, like Neon, A24, Blumhouse, things like that. But then there's also independent films that are made just from individuals. And so indie films are always kind of just trying to get enough money to tell their stories, right? Whereas studio films, they have an unlimited bank account and they can kind of do whatever they want. So independent film is just kind of like, it's the little guy, you know? And so I've always, you know, being in industry and just being a part of different classes and different projects and running into different filmmakers, it's always been important to me to support the people that I come into contact with, because those are the stories that oftentimes, you know, that will never see the light of day if someone doesn't just really care about them and give it their all and kind of put their whole life into making it.
So is that concept what drew you into independent filmmaking specifically?
Well, for me, there are films that I want to make, and they're not going to get made if I don't make them. And I can't just walk up to Warner Brothers and say, "Listen,
Right.
give me $5 million so I can tell the story that I want to tell." Right. So to make the film, you have to become an indie filmmaker, which is a whole thing. It's a process. It's a struggle, and it's something that you really have to dedicate yourself to, because if you want to get a project made, it's not like you can just, you know, go to the studio and record a song. You know, that if you're trying to make a feature-length film, which is something that's, you know, over a full-length film is considered over 30 minutes. Obviously, most of them are longer than that. But if you want to make a feature film, it's a process, right? And you can do it on your iPhone. People say, "Oh yeah, we'll just make it on your iPhone," and you can do that. But if you're really going to make a film and you want to make it good with high production quality, then you're going to need staff. You're going to need a whole lot of people to help you do it, and you're going to need some time, and you're going to need locations. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I got into filmmaking because there are films that I want to make, and that's pretty much the bottom line.
So, just for the listeners and just for clarity, and for people who may not be familiar with the differences between independent films and working with the big Hollywood system, does independent filmmaking automatically equal filming that's not polished, or you know what I mean? What is the? I guess what I'm saying is the benefit of a big studio. Is it more of the polished look, and obviously, or polished feel? Obviously, there's more money when you're talking a machine. But does it necessarily have to impact the quality of the film, or is it more about the stories that are being told?
Well, it's a really good question, and the answer is no. It's just because the film is made by one of the big studios, it doesn't mean it's going to be a better quality film. I mean, all of Spike Lee's films, I believe, are independent. I mean, you look at his most recent joint, Highest to Lowest. That's an independent film because it was made outside of the studio system.
Oh,
But
so
there are like as
so let me
go
just
ahead.
let me just ask you really quick. So for clarity, independent film is those are all the films that are made outside of the big five or the sub
That's
few
right.
that you
That's right.
mentioned. Ah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, but no, it's okay. But we've seen films. I mean, all throughout our history that are independent. I mean, one of the biggest cultural phenomena in the last couple of decades, Get Out. That was an
Yes.
independent film produced by Blumhouse. Budget was about $5 million. It ended up making, I think, somewhere around, I don't know, it was at least 100 million, if not like up towards 200 million. And so, yeah, I mean, the quality, it doesn't depend on being a studio film. It just depends on if you have a good DP, an experienced camera operator, and good equipment. And equipment is becoming more accessible these days. So you see like films that you would never know were made for $500,000, but they are because there are experienced filmmakers that are creating them and that have experienced crews.
Period. Right. Yeah. So independent filmmakers, it seems if you don't have that big machine behind you, and the big machine often equals dollars funding. So I've heard, and you can, let me know, but they often face uphill battles with funding, distribution, marketing, visibility, and positioning. What would you say has been your biggest challenge as an independent filmmaker? And how are you currently pushing through it, or how have you pushed through it?
Well, I mean, you just mentioned it. It's always the funding for independent
It's
films.
always the
It's
funding.
always the funding because you don't have that machine, and you may have individuals who like fund their own films, but mostly you have individuals who are trying to find a way to get the money to produce their film, and that's actually I'm currently producing my first feature film, and I am currently in the fundraising process, and so I'm right in the middle of it. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart, but if you want to do something, it's just about taking it one step at a time and doing it. And we've been making some good progress. We have a production company attached that has produced over 20 films, and they've gotten most of them into the best film festivals in the world, and they're attached to my project. And I've got a director attached who had her most recent pilot in get into Sundance 2025.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so now I've been building this, and this project has been years in the making. And it started just because I found this play. I found it very powerful. I think it's important discussion to what's happening in society right now, and I would love to see it. I would love to see the story told on a broader scale. And so, for me, yeah, that's always the issue. Is not just for me, but for independent filmmakers, it's always the issue is, all right, this is the budget. How much can we shoot this for?
Yeah.
And where can we get it from?
And then pulling together every possible resource that you can, right? Obviously.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
what is the role of a production company in independent filmmaking in the film industry?
Well, yeah, I mean, they can have many roles. I mean, they can do everything. They can come up with the funding. They can provide the crew. They can work towards getting a distributor. It's basically their job to kind of make it happen. And so with this particular production company that I'm working with, they're called Vanishing Angle, and as I said, they have a long track record of success for making successful films that make money with a very small budget. And normally they don't even take outside projects and produce them. But for me, I've acquired this intellectual property. It's a well-known stage play that I'm turning into a film. And because I have this intellectual property, Someone introduced me to them, and they said this might be a good project for you all, and they decided to take it on. So in this particular instance, once the funds are raised, then they are going to, kind of help with the production schedule, supply the crew, and use their vast network to help get it distributed once it's completed. So they have connections with all the festivals, and getting films into festivals is one big way that independent films get distribution. It's kind of like a farmer's market, for films. And if they get in, then you can. All of these distributors are there, and I like this film, I want to buy it, and so that's kind of the role of a production company. It can be many things, but it's basically just making the film. It's making sure the film gets made.
And they're responsible for all of that. So it sounds like you have really landed a win when you can get a production company attached to your independent film making process.
Well, I mean, it depends on the production company, and a lot of people started their own. A lot of people they've started their own production company, and those production companies, including my own, I started my own production company, but it's not as well established yet. So if you land an established production company, then yes, it absolutely is a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that budget and resources is oftentimes the biggest hurdle with independent film making. Well, I'm so glad that you're here. I personally, as a creative, have so many questions. I'm sure listeners today who are creatives and storytellers also have questions. Please feel free to call in with Avi and I, 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, I just want to get into the heart of the storytelling part of filmmaking, which is the heart of it all. So stay with me. We'll jump into it with Avi Bernard and Dr. Sunshine sitting in for Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
As we get older, we may feel strong and healthy, but no matter how healthy you feel, your immune system weakens with age. That's where vaccines come in. Vaccines help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off certain respiratory illnesses. And that's why the CDC recommends eligible adults 50 or older or those with certain health conditions get vaccinated. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Welcome forward. This is Dominique DiPrima's First Things First, and I, Dr. Sunshine, I'm sitting in for Dominique today, joined by Avi Bernard, and we are talking about independent filmmaking and storytelling. Thank you so much, Avi. We definitely appreciate you popping in this morning.
Oh, happy to be here.
Absolutely. So I want to jump in a little bit about the heart of storytelling. I know that you mentioned to us that you're working on a project right now, but are there particular stories and or themes that you feel most called to bringing to the screen? I'm getting a sense that you may, I don't know, do you want to kind of tell us what the film is about? You don't have to spill the tea if you don't want, but I guess my curiosity is, are there stories that in particular or themes that you like to bring to life?
Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's about creating films that have an impact, that talk about issues that were going on in the world. And, you know, we live in America, and we were making all this progress, or so we thought, with President Obama. And then it seems like a lot of people who are not of the melanated coalition really took offense to just a black man being in power, and we're seeing the response to that now. We've been seeing it for the last 10 years since Trump ran his first campaign. So
right.
For me, it's about creating stories that are entertaining but also impactful, and you don't want to just be preaching. You want to create a film just to preach and make it all about the message, but it has to, the message has to be a part of it for me. And so with the current project, it's called Love and Torture. It's based on a stage play from a well-known playwright named Christopher Durang, who is actually one of the greatest American playwrights of all time. And it's a story about a Middle Eastern man who marries a white woman, and she brings him home to meet her parents, and her father is actually a hardcore right-wing zealot. And so as soon as she brings her new husband home, her father thinks that he's a terrorist, which of course he's not, and so he plots to have him kidnapped to extrapolate information about what he believes is an impending terrorist attack, which of course there isn't one. So it's a dark comedy, and it's a story that has been performed in at least 28 states and 4 different countries, and we're turning it into a film.
Interesting. Again, considering the political climate that we're in, interesting. And it also, what you're describing also seems to touch point some of the stereotypes that we find ourselves in, specifically when it comes to Middle Eastern people. And we know that happens with us too, but yeah, isn't that amazing, right?
Yeah. Xenophobia is one of the major themes, and we talk about since Trump came into power. You have the Muslim ban, and you have. I mean, and xenophobia is a symptom of their overall racism, and we as Black people can't just be like, oh, that's not us, that's them, because we know what that they if they could get us out, they would. So we don't want to stand together with everyone who's being discriminated against.
I mean, you would think if not, you're right. We absolutely cannot take a break and sit on the sidelines when other people are being pushed and marginalized. It's always us next, which just it brings me to all of the uprising happening in LA, but or all around the country, not just LA, but all around the country, I think we do have to stand together because discrimination against one is eventually discrimination against us all, to push against the machine. But that's a whole nother topic, right? I don't know. These things show up in independent films, and it is a part of our overall story. So I don't know how much we can get around it, even in your dark comedy. Is that what you called it, dark comedy? That it's being, depicted, yeah?
Yep. That's right. Dark comedy. I mean, I think sometimes you have to be able to tell stories that are impactful, but also do it in a way that people aren't used to seeing. And so if you can make people laugh while also telling a powerful story, I mean, that's, to me, I'm a nerd and I laugh at things that a lot of people don't laugh at. Sometimes I'm the guy in the movie theater who's the only one laughing. But
right.
I think that if you're able to tell a story that has an impact and make people laugh, then I think that can bring a new perspective. And so that's and it's not like this is something that I think is funny. This project is something that I think is funny. I mean, it's established. It's done well. It's got good reviews from the New York Times and LA Times and many other publications when it was a stage play. So
it's already been proven. It's already proven. Okay. Well, more with Avi Bernard when we come forward.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A candlelight vigil was held in Charlotte, North Carolina, in honor of the Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska, who was stabbed to death on a light rail last month. Reverend James Bauer said, "Enough is enough."
And so we will not stand by anymore. We will fight for our city.
Police say the attack was random. DeCarlo Brown is charged with her murder and remains in custody. The Weeknd has dropped out of Global Citizen Festival in Central Park due to personal reasons. Cardi B will take his place Saturday, joining Shakira, Tyla, Mariah the Scientist, and more. And DC Mayor Muriel Bowser wants the city to host the 2031 Super Bowl. She says the new Commander Stadium, opening in 2030, and hosting the NFL Draft in 2027 makes it possible and key to boosting the local economy. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers will have trouble getting past the first round of the playoffs if their bullpen doesn't perform better. Shohei Ohtani had 8 strikeouts and a 4-0 lead after going 6 innings last night at Arizona. The Dodgers ended up losing 5-4. Arizona scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th off reliever Tanner Scott. It was Scott's 10th blown save this season, highest in the major leagues. Ohtani has not given up a run in each of his last 3 starts, but the Dodgers have lost each game. The Dodgers are going to need their relievers to step up to win another World Series championship. Top 5 college football teams in this week's HBCU Top 25 poll: Jackson State, Alabama State, North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, and Alabama A&M. 2-1 Jackson State is the only HBCU team ranked in this week's NCAA Division I AA poll. Jackson State, ranked number 17, is at Southern University on Saturday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Is your loved one at the hospital or in a nursing home? Have they developed bed sores, fallen, or worse? These are things your family members should be protected from. Bed sores, falls, and dehydration are almost always the result of negligent care. If this has happened to your loved one, call Zoran at Basic Law Group at 800-215-1234 or visit basiclawgroup.com. The consultation is free, and if they don't win, you don't pay. That's 800-215-1234.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome forward. You are listening to First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. I, Dr. Sunshine, I'm sitting in for Dominique today and for the rest of the week. Thanks so much for coming forward with me. Today, I'm joined by Avi Bernard, and we're talking about independent filmmaking and Avi's project that he has going on here. Avi, I have a question for you from the KBLA YouTube live chat. You ready for this one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Molly Bell says, Avi Bernard, how do we get someone like yourself to look at unorganized ideas like I have a photo of the 1965 civil unrest and a cassette of talk radio stations before we knew how powerful it was. And though she's saying unorganized, I wonder if she means unorthodox ideas like the civil unrest of 1965.
Well, first of all, hello to Molly Bell and shout out to Molly Bell. I mean, Molly Bell has been a staple in the Black radio audience for decades now, and always love to hear from her. And I mean, for me personally, I mean, that sounds like a great idea. I mean, I'd love to look at it. I mean, I'm knee deep in my current project, so there's. I mean, I would have to finish this one before I even think about doing another one. But I think it's all about just bringing the idea to different people, and maybe you bring your idea to an indie filmmaker. You can look at films that have been made that are indie films, and look at who the producers were, who the director was, and maybe that might be something that they want to look at. But also, if it's a thing where you're like, okay, well, I have this idea for this project, and here's some money to go and make it, then that's a whole different conversation. So,
considering
that. So yeah, I mean,
the struggles.
Yeah. So, but I mean, always happy to listen to ideas, regardless. Even if it's not something that I can undertake at the current moment. I mean, especially from someone like Molly Bell.
Mm-hmm. Molly Bell is definitely the staple, and definitely family here on First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. So thank you, Molly, for the question. Thank you, Avi, for approaching that question as well. We want to now go over to the phone lines. We have Carl with us from Los Angeles. Good morning, Carl, and welcome to First Things First.
Good morning, sister. How you doing? And to your guests.
I'm great. I am great. So, Carl, do you have a question or comment for myself or Avi this morning?
Sure. Long time, Avi. You one of the OGs. Hey, look, give us a little bit on AI and robots taking over sceneries in some of these movies in the backgrounds. They might be playing, a robot might be playing a bartender or a cop just standing around.
Man.
How does AI impact the independent film industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, Carl. That's been a really big issue in the film industry now for the last few years. As you see AI kind of encroaching into a bunch of different spaces, and I mean, AI has the power now to make entire films, and they don't look good to me. I mean, I think a lot of people can tell the difference, especially if you're more of a cinephile. But AI is dangerous, though. AI is really dangerous, and we do have to be mindful of the technology we allow into our projects. I've actually been approached by someone who does AI films and wanted to kind of talk about using. I don't remember exactly what it was because I didn't even take the meeting, but it was like about using my image in a AI film or something like that. And so it's just, that stuff is once they do start doing stuff like that, I mean, they can put you in anything. They can put you in a film and you don't even know that you're in it, and you're doing crazy stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, for AI, that to me, I'm my wife will say I don't even like to use ChatGPT, but as far as films, that was one of the big sticking points in the latest SAG strike. That we wanted assurances that we would be able to have stuff in the contract that makes sure that we don't get our jobs taken by AI. So it's a good question, Carl, and it's something that we're all kind of mindful of right now.
Thank you so much, Carl, for that question. I think it is a good one, but Avi, it is such a good one that I kind of want to piggyback off of that question, because AI does bring in, things that we have to consider. Like you say, it can be very dangerous. Right now, we can still, I'm not a trained, filmmaker, but I think I do a pretty good job at being able to tell when I'm looking at elements of AI. But there's the other side of it too, right? AI helps you in many ways as well too, or in the case of Avi Bernard, maybe not.
Well, I mean, it certainly has the ability to help you. And I've been to film festivals where there was a short film that was made entirely with AI, and the filmmaker never would have been able to make her film if not for AI. And hey, look, if that's your thing, then sure. But I think if you're able to use it to help you, then that's cool. But I think it's a slippery slope, and we just have to really be careful about how much of it we incorporate, because when you do incorporate AI, then you're most likely removing a human element and someone who could have put a human touch on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, then you're taking away a human job. And so, at what point do the studios start saying, instead of making this movie for $50 million, we can make it for $5 million, and just use all AI actors and all this. So, I think it's something that if it's able to be used in a way to help indie filmmakers without jeopardizing the actual art itself, and jeopardizing jobs in the short term and in the long term, then that's cool with me. But for me personally, I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. Yeah, when you said you're not embracing Chat GPT, I'm like, I don't know. It took me a while to jump in the game, but Chat is sometimes a friend. One of the ways that I see,
I know, my wife is a big fan.
She's a believer as well, huh? One of the things that I see with AI that may be beneficial is just enhancements to, I don't know, I'm asking you as a creative that's actively, working on a film, could it be the advantage of it right now that doesn't affect, I don't think it affects people or jobs, but what about enhancements? Like you said, using AI to replace or come up with background scenes. The caller mentioned that. But what if you've filmed the background scene and all is well, but you just kind of want to enhance the color or make it more vibrant? Because we have tools and things to do that. Is that one way that you believe that we could safely incorporate AI into filmmaking? And because funding is such a big issue, perhaps cut down on the expense of like coloration or colorization.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, if you're able to use AI and elements of post production to make your project look better, sound better, sure. Yeah, as long as I'm just opposed to AI when it's stepping in for people. And so if you have an AI representation of a person instead of an actual person, or if you have AI doing something that a person would normally be doing. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're using a tool to help you make the colors more in the mood of the film, then yeah, sure. I mean, something like that would be totally fine if someone, wanted to do that.
Well, just curious, the film that you saw at Independent Film Festival, that was completely made using AI, how did it fare at the festival?
It was fine. I mean, it wasn't that good, honestly. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was interesting, the concept she had, but to me, it was probably, and I didn't even know it was AI at the time, but when I first thought this, but it was my least favorite of the projects that I saw at that particular festival. But I mean, listen, I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm all for indie filmmakers getting their projects made. It's just about when it, especially because when we talked about the budget limitations and challenges, but it's just about the question of what does that lead to? And are the people and entities with resources going to then start doing that and start cutting people out? So yeah, I mean, that just to answer your question though, that particular film, it wasn't my flavor.
It wasn't quite it. So what is the cutting the middle? How do you then balance the integrity of the realities of budget issues with the reality that you're trying to portray? Is it just, I don't know, is it then more work? Is it more manpower? Is it more money? If we're using people as opposed to tools like that. I see that being the big challenge. AI for independent filmmakers cutting costs when budget is such a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying, if you're able to use the tools that AI provides, you know what I mean, it's just as long as you're not cutting people out. And I get it, there's budget limitations, and if I am forced with the prospect of not getting the film made or using some AI elements, then I can't fault any indie filmmaker for doing that, because ultimately, if it's a question between not getting it made and getting it made, then you got to get it made.
Then you got to get it made, right? Yeah.
As long as you're doing it in an ethical way, and so. But yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on each project and on the circumstances, and is there a way to do it without cutting people out?
So Avi, when we come forward, I want to find out from you any advice that you have for the up and coming filmmakers that may be listening right now, and I want to get your best piece of advice for listeners. So. For those of you listening, hang in there. We'll get that advice from Avi Bernard when we come forward.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Is your loved one at the hospital or in a nursing home? Have they developed bed sores, fallen, or worse? These are things your family members should be protected from. Bed sores, falls, and dehydration are almost always the result of negligent care. If this has happened to your loved one, call Zoran at Basic Law Group at 800-215-1234 or visit basiclawgroup.com. The consultation is free, and if they don't win, you don't pay. That's 800-215-1234.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Welcome forward. This is Dominique DiPrima's First Things First. I'm Dr. Sunshine sitting in for her today, joined by our very special guest who feels more like a partner here with me today. It's Avi Bernard. Avi, what advice do you have for filmmakers that may be listening and, not wanting to wait on Hollywood's green light?
Well, the first piece of advice is, if you don't love it, don't do it. You know, if there's anything else that you love even almost as much, then do that, because this is it's really hard. It's really it's not fun a lot of times, and you know, the flip side is you make something that lasts forever, and so that's also part of what drew me to making, you know, independent films. But yeah, I mean, other than that though, after that, it's just about taking it one day at a time, making something, whether it's a 1 minute short or 5 minute short, using your phone, and then you kind of just you go from there. It's just keep creating, and just one more thing on that note of making something forever. You know, I did radio for 16 years, as most of you know, most recently with KBLA. Before my second son was born, I had to step away just because I didn't have the time to dedicate to it. And I love radio. I always loved radio. But what bothered me about radio is that you can have the perfect show, and then once it's over, no one's ever going to hear it again. Yeah. Most likely. You may hear clips, but with film, you make it right one time, it lasts forever. And to me, that's a form of immortality. And they say that, there's 1 in 1,000 people that writes a book, right? 1 in every 1,000 people. But 1 in every 1,000,000 people makes a film.
Woo!
And so you're really a part of something special when you do this. And as I said, it's been well documented, the challenges and the time. But I just think it's such a worthwhile thing. It's such a gift you can give to the world, to create something that will be enjoyed and watched for generations.
Well, if you had to, another good question, I think, is what is the hardest part about being an independent filmmaker? What is the hardest part?
Well, it's actually getting your stuff made.
Oh, getting it done is the hardest part. So funding again, basically.
And not getting discouraged. Yeah, exactly. And not getting discouraged and staying in it, and dealing with everything else you have to deal with in life, while also staying focused on this task of getting it done. And I will say, if I can, if you do want to be part of a project and invest and own a piece of the project I'm working on, I always keep it real. In indie films, you can't guarantee you're going to make any money, but you can guarantee that you'll be part of a project that lasts forever and have your name attached to that. So you can send an email to hello@loveandtorture.com. That's hello@loveandtorture.com. Or you can catch me on IG at Avi Bernard. That's AVIBERNARD.
I was going to ask you next, how can we find you? Where can we? So when is the film? When can we look forward to seeing Love and Torture? Do we have some prospective dates that we can look out for?
Well, ideally, we'll be filming it kind of in the winter, maybe the first quarter of next year, and then toward the middle of next year it'll be out. That's the goal right now.
Okay, so you haven't started filming yet. So I know that there's pre-production and there's the actual filming. I guess there's casting. So where are you in that journey? You haven't started filming. Where are you right now? Right now you're at the point of trying to get the funds to create the film. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've actually raised a significant portion of the funds already, and any responsible filmmaker is not going to get into production until they have enough to complete the film, because then you're just wasting everybody's time and money, and you never know. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to film and you don't have the money to film the next day, and so so we're not into pre-production yet, but we are in the process of kind of just making sure we have everything we need to start. And we do actually have a well-known actor attached as well that I didn't mention before. You may know Julie Haggerty, who was in the Airplane franchise. She's done a million things since. She's done a million things since then. She was in Marriage Story with Scarlett Johansson, but yeah, she's going to be in the film as well. So yeah, as far as casting goes, that's one element we have. I'm going to be in it, of course. Okay. But yeah, so we have a lot of elements that we've gotten to so far, and just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, I can say that I'm not unfamiliar with this process, I was just in an independent film called The Birth of the Black Underworld that was written, produced, and directed by Matty Rich. And working with him on that film, I got a chance to have a front row seat to observe how difficult making a film on your own can actually be. And so with that, I want to give you all of the kudos and respect for chasing your dream, following it, and to your point, remaining encouraged through the very difficult process of being an independent
Well, thank you so much,
filmmaker.
Dr. Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
thank you so
to
much.
it. I will be following on your social media handles to keep up to date, and then you'll find me in the audience of Love and Torture when it comes to life.
Well, I appreciate you so much, Dr. Sunshine. It's been an absolute pleasure talking film with you this morning.
Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it even more than you know. Have a great one.
You too.
And to all of you listening, stay with me. We have a wonderful hour coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. I'm looking forward to continuing my morning with all of you. Again, this is First Things First with Dominique DiPrima. I'm Dr. Sunshine, and I'll be coming forward with you very soon. Thank you.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A candlelight vigil was held in Charlotte, North Carolina, in honor of the Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska, who was stabbed to death on a light rail last month. Reverend James Bauer said, "Enough is enough."
And so we will not stand by anymore. We will fight for our city.
Police say the attack was random. DeCarlo Brown is charged with her murder and remains in custody. The Weeknd has dropped out of Global Citizen Festival in Central Park due to personal reasons. Cardi B will take his place Saturday, joining Shakira, Tyla, Mariah the Scientist, and more. And DC Mayor Muriel Bowser wants the city to host the 2031 Super Bowl. She says the new Commander Stadium, opening in 2030, and hosting the NFL Draft in 2027 makes it possible and key to boosting the local economy. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers will have trouble getting past the first round of the playoffs if their bullpen doesn't perform better. Shohei Ohtani had 8 strikeouts and a 4-0 lead after going 6 innings last night at Arizona. The Dodgers ended up losing 5-4. Arizona scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th off reliever Tanner Scott. It was Scott's 10th blown save this season, highest in the major leagues. Ohtani has not given up a run in each of his last 3 starts, but the Dodgers have lost each game. The Dodgers are going to need their relievers to step up to win another World Series championship. Top 5 college football teams in this week's HBCU Top 25 poll: Jackson State, Alabama State, North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, and Alabama A&M. 2-1 Jackson State is the only HBCU team ranked in this week's NCAA Division I AA poll. Jackson State, ranked number 17, is at Southern University on Saturday. No debates.